Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the final round of the EBaTCC Championship of the year 2023. We gathered here to take a look at the final moments of the last qualifying session of the season. We race at Nemuno Žiedas near the town Kačerginė. It's 3 kilometers, 350 meters long, has 10 corners in total without the famous chicane. The organizers decided to make this round without the chicane and maybe have a look at how it would possibly look like if the real racing series would visit the track and wouldn't use that chicane, which causes quite a lot of troubles and problems in the real events. Gudinavicius already sitting in the pit lane with a lap time of 1 minute 17.4. I think he's pretty safe to call it the day with the qualifying session, and there's no one who can come close, especially when this guy, Žadeikis, is also standing in the pit lane with a lap time of 1 minute 17.7. So it's a huge gap already, more than 3/10 between the first and the second position. It's quite a bit tighter behind the leader. As usual, of course, Svetins is right on the tail of Žadeikis. Ungurs is currently third already in the pit lane. Straupe fifth and also in the pit lane. Aurimas Mištotas still out there on the racetrack, 1 minute 18.0. He's half a second slower than the qualifying session leader. I think someone was that Šubeckis maybe with the Dream to Drive car, who was a little bit midway in the air. Maybe it was another driver. Oh, Šubeckis is out there on the racetrack. He's currently 13th and he made a beautiful mistake and a 360 to show us some nice views. So the top 5 are already in the pit lane. Aurimas Mištotas just crossed the line and he couldn't go faster. So he ended in the place he was at the end. So this was the qualifying session and it has ended. Let's take a quick look at the results again. Gudinavicius taking the pole position, Nemuno Žiedas second, Svetins third, Ungurs fourth, Straupe fifth, Mištotas sixth, Klimanskas seventh, Rozitis eighth, Sabutis ninth, Okas 10th, Ozolins 11th, Bonkevicius 12th, Kiršis 13th, Lukševičius 14th, Markevičius 15th, Kovalevskis 16th, Mitkus 17th, Gornevs 18th, Dimskis 19th, Reizin 20th, Einingis 21st, Soraka 22nd, Slisans 23rd, and Kalda 25th. Let's take a quick break and let's look at that promo video we didn't have the chance to look at, and if we will have time, we will get the chance to see the pole position of the real 3-5 Cup. We are back right for the start for the first race of the final round. Gudinavicius on your left side of on the left side of your screens. Žadeikis on the right side. Two identical cars, one team. Ungurs and Rositz behind. Straupe starting fifth. And interesting things happening at the tower. Gudinavicius, as usual, leading the pack with no problems whatsoever at this pretty difficult track, I should say, especially this version without the chicanes. We have drivers spinning around and being launched into the air. No wonder at the Nemuno Žiedas racetrack. It's not the safest one to race at. Luckily, we are at the virtual version of it and everyone is safe to maybe fly a little bit around in the air and make a couple of turnarounds. Everyone needs to be really cautious starting on cold tires, and it's really easy to make a small mistake, and if you clip the grass or gravel, the car slows down quite drastically and you risk to lose a lot of places. Aurimas Mištotas down to P8. Povilas Bonkevičius currently 10th, and I think he went a little bit too fast into the chicane corner. Aurimas Mištotas being forced to race on the grass. Julius Kiršes was right on the tail of Povilas Bonkevičius. I think Povilas had a great start, and that's what I was talking about. Aurimas Mištotas running through the grass, and it's a pretty dangerous situation. Julius Kiršes was tapped from behind by Ozolinč and Okas. Gudinavicius finishing the first lap with no problems whatsoever. As usual in this season, Žadeikis currently second. It looks like a little bit better at this moment for Žadeikis, but of course everything goes down to the second race, where the top 10 drivers, the top 10 finishers of the first race start in a reversed order, and we usually have a little bit more drama, though it was quite a different story 2 weeks ago in the Tour Poznan circuit, where the first race actually had quite a lot of action and the second one was a little bit calmer with a little bit less action. So I think it's going to be a different story this evening, but hold our breaths and wait for that second race. And of course we have to race out the first one, riding on board with Jānis Straupe, who's right on the tail of Ungurs. Jānis having quite a good season in this 325 Cup Virtual Championship, and he's currently fourth, and he's looking to finish the championship in third place. Someone clipped the grass. Was it Žadeikis? I think Svetins is right on the tail of Žadeikis, so not a big progress for the Lithuanian driver, who is trying to stick up with Gudinavicius. Žadeikis came here to try and defend the second position. There's a driver who is already one lap behind. That's Kornevs, I believe, from Rodev Racing, right ahead of Gudinavicius. Jānis Straupe still fifth. Julius Kiršes right on the tail of Aurimas Mištotas, and Bonkevičius is currently seventh. Aurimas Mištotas and Julius Kiršes, two friends from the real world. Both of them will race at the same racing team, which is the Dream to Drive one. Aurimas Mištotas running the wrong livery this evening, but he'll be driving that bright blue car in this real season, together with his friend Julius Kiršes, whom he's fighting on track right now. Povilas Bonkevičius from KTK Racing Division is currently seventh, so it looks like the guys from the real championship, the Lithuanian ones, know the track quite well, and they are doing a pretty good job in this first race of the final round. And it doesn't look so desperate, the version of the racetrack without that chicane. Of course, it's virtual environment, and it's a little bit easier to go through the first corner. I'm not sure if the speed is correctly displayed on the tachometer of Julius Kiršes' car, but I think the speed was something around 210 kilometers. Which is quite a lot, approaching that first corner without that chicane, and the speed through the first corner was something about 150 kilometers per hour, which is quite a lot, and without big runoff areas it's quite dangerous. Svetins right on the tail of Žadeikis, who has to lap Kornevs, I believe. He was just lapped, and two teammates, Svetins and Gudinavicius from Road Racing, have just greeted each other. If you could shortly hear the funny siren of the BMW mod. Šubeckis 9th. Gudinavicius showing nice progress. He started 19th, and pretty similar to the last race, which was 2 weeks ago. He started at the back of the pack, and I think he finished the first race in P12, so trying to repeat something similar from the previous round. We are on board with Povilas Klimanskas, and I wanted to get on board with Gudinavicius, who is currently 12th, trying to race down Romed Racing, the driver who is also participant in the real 325 Cup races in the EBaTCC Championship. Gudinavicius right on the tail, so let's stick a little bit with the Lithuanian and Latvian fighting for P11. And don't forget, whoever finishes 10th in the first race will start the second race from pole position, so it's pretty important, and it looks like Gudinavicius is on a mission. Gudinavicius doesn't have the pace to kind of run away from the drivers behind. Both of the drivers behind Gudinavicius made some sort of a mistake on the last lap time, because the lap time of Gudinavicius was only 1 minute and 22.1, but you can see how much faster Gudinavicius is down the straight. But it's not enough to be faster. You have to either force your rival into small mistake to clip that grass, or better to clip that gravel to slow him down and to get an easy overtake. And if it's not happening, the drivers have to figure out something. Well, Gudinavicius made a pretty good overtaking attempt to the stadium corner, which is one of the faster corners running down the hill on this racetrack. Of course, it's a pretty fast race track without that final chicane, which is a usual configuration of this racetrack. But as mentioned before, the idea is to run in this track in the real event is maybe without that chicane, but well, it doesn't look too dangerous looking at the virtual platform, but I'm not sure if I am a fan of such an idea, because, well, the chicanes are to make the track safer. Of course, the way the chicane is built on the real racetrack puts a little bit more dangerous to the stuff working on the racetrack, because most of the drivers are clipping the tires and they need to be put back on the track. Gudinavicius looking to go into the inside. Gudinavicius with beautiful driving. Oh, and he's a little bit off the racetrack, still managing to close off the tour right in front of Gudinavicius, but Gudinavicius braked really late into the chicane corner, and it worked out pretty well. He went a little bit wide later on, but he's still ahead of Gudinavicius, who seems to be slightly faster than his Lithuanian rival, running the livery of Karolis Jovišas. Gudinavicius making a small mistake. Now's the time for Robert Raisin to maybe try and strike back. 11.5 minutes of the race remains, so it's still a little bit more than half of that race remaining. And Straupe right on the tail of Ungurs. We are still with Robert Raisin, Gudinavicius and Gudinavicius, the three drivers who are battling for the pole position for the next race. Julius Kiršis and Aurimas Mištautas fighting each other. Povilas Bonkevičius and Rositas battling for P6. So a couple of two-car battles with one three-car battle for the pole position for the next race. Povilas Bonkevičius going up to P6. Great driving by the driver who is living in Kaunas, where the track is actually located, and Povilas Bonkevičius knows this racetrack in and out, not only the virtual version but the real one also, and I'm pretty sure it's giving some small advantages to the drivers who know this track from the real life event. And you can see from the results of Povilas Bonkevičius right now from the KTK Racing Division, running a little bit wide after the first corner. Now's the chance for Rositas. In the meantime, Julius Kiršis overtook Aurimas Mištautas, and actually side by side into the stadium. Aurimas Mištautas wants that position back. These two drivers know each other from the real on-track battles, not particularly from the 3 to 5 Cup class, but both of them raced in a little bit more powerful class for a couple of years, and they know each other really well, and it looks like the battle continues on the virtual racetrack. They will meet each other on the same team next year, racing in the 3 to 5 Cup class. Nemuno needs to go defensive from Rositis, and he does that quite well. Žadeikis with a nice advantage against Žadeikis. It looks like a couple of drivers didn't put in the results in the qualifying session they wanted to put in, and now they are doing a little bit better in the race session. Of course, it's still half a session remaining, and I wanted to hop in on the inside of Povilas Klimanskas. He's currently 13th, and he was the fastest of these 4 drivers. He actually joined the 3 drivers battling for the pole position for the next race, which currently belongs to Gytis Dimskis. And he's still doing a phenomenal job defending that position, running a little bit wide, but it just shows how fast everybody wants to drive, and everyone is eager to get back on the power as soon as possible into the stadium. Gudinavicius kind of dives into the inside, but kind of refuses to do that, and leaves Gytis Dimskis in front. Gytis needs to be defensive on the next corner, and that slows him quite drastically down. Now we have 4 cars approaching the chicane corner. Gytis Dimskis lost a lot of time. I'm not sure if he slowed down too much or he clipped that gravel, but he's down to P13 in the course of 1 corner, but it's not over yet. Povilas Klimanskas from Racing and Gvidas currently took that 10th spot, which is the pole position for the next race. And all these 4 cars are running like glued together, swapping places from time to time. And Gudinavicius was the faster driver, at least by the looks of it, and from the results of the qualifying session and of course the practice session. But during the race, it's not so easy for the faster drivers to keep up with that pace. It's really quite easy to make small mistakes which result in slower lap times, and then it puts kind of an on par with the drivers who look to be slightly slower during the practice sessions. Gudinavicius doing quite nice. Gytis Dimskis falling a little bit backwards, but he can enjoy the views in front. Oh, and well, if you put one grass outside of the stadium corner, that slows you quite down. Povilas Klimanskas made a beautiful move on Romet Raisin. Now Povilas Klimanskas will be chasing down Gudinavicius for that 3rd spot of the 2nd race, which is one of the most important positions the drivers want to win in the 1st race, especially those drivers who cannot compete for the win on row pace. But they know that if they start on pole for the 2nd race, and those faster drivers, if they are not lucky enough to go through the traffic as fast as they want, they will take a little bit more time, and the drivers who start on pole, even if they are slightly slower, they have great chances of winning the 2nd race. And we've already had a couple of different winners in this championship just because of this situation. Nemuno falling a little bit behind Žadeikis, and Povilas Klimanskas running a little bit wide, side by side into the stadium. Romet Raisin looks to fight back for the 11th spot, and it's mostly done if Povilas Klimanskas manages to stick on the outside before the Ąžuolas corner, and which he tries to do so. This is a good chance for Gytis Dimskis to get back into P11, but you can already see Gudinavicius disappearing into the distance. There's no space for Gytis Dimskis. He decides to run on the grass into chicane corner. Beautiful driving by all the 3 drivers, and it's still almost contactless. Gytis Dimskis around the inside of these 2 drivers ahead of Povilas Klimanskas. Markevičius kind of comes closer to this battle, but these drivers battling each other, they are actually doing a huge favor for Gudinavicius and letting him go. He's already 2.2 seconds ahead of this battle, and I think Gudinavicius kind of already safe with that 10th spot for the first race, which should turn into the pole position for the second one. These guys are still not over with that battle. Klimanskas running a little bit wide, and he's going to have a sneak peek into the inside of the stadium corner. He's still able to see Gudinavicius in the distance. He was quite close of his Lithuanian rival, but he made a small mistake. Then Romet Raisin attacked, and these drivers wasted a lot of time battling each other and basically let that pole position go. Žadeikis made a small mistake. Well, he actually did make a mistake. He was slower through the Ąžuolas corner. Romet Raisin kind of braking a little bit earlier, and Žadeikis didn't have a place to go. Actually, he had to lift off earlier also, and it was thank you for Klimanskas for actually Romet Raisin lifting a little bit earlier. Maybe these are some small strategy games by Romet Raisin, forcing into battles those drivers behind, so he could maybe get some free space. Look at that speed without that chicane into turn 1. Žadeikis having a sneak peek, but it's not a place on the racetrack to make that move, and he might complete that move, but all the drivers they're just simply wasting precious time. And Klimanskas was pretty fast on rule pace, but as soon as you have to battle side by side with your rivals who run same cars with same setup and all the conditions are the same, it just slows you down, and small mistakes give quite good chances for your rivals to try and overtake you. But you can clearly witness how much the battling slows the drivers down. Klimanskas made a mistake exiting the Ąžuolas corner, and now he's overburned and overshot the corner. And Klimanskas stays in P12, but that pushes Žadeikis to P14 behind Karolis Markevičius, and it's actually, I would say, it's bad move by Klimanskas. He was in the inside and he braked too late, and he pushed Žadeikis onto the grass. So at least by the looks that we witnessed, that we had to see in this short period of time, the blame goes on to Klimanskas, who is currently 12th, and he let Karolis Markevičius right on his tail. Straupe looking to finish one place higher. He's right on the tail of Ungurs. Ungurs running a little bit sideways. The tire wear is 150%, so maybe the tires are already worn out, and there comes Straupe on the inside into Šakiai corner. Will the drivers avoid contact? No, they don't, and actually Straupe makes that move, but it's really similar to the situation which happened one lap ago between Klimanskas and Žadeikis, so Ungurs has to give that position to Straupe, but actually not without a contact, and I'm not sure if there will be penalties after that. Tauras Gudinavicius starting the penultimate lap of this race, so 2 laps to go. Hopefully the drivers have good numbers for fuel, and they didn't make mistakes. We completed 14 laps already, so it's a relatively short circuit, and the drivers complete quite a lot of laps. Not a lot of corners, or actually, well, at least not a lot of braking to do. If my calculations are correct, we have 4 braking zones only at this circuit, even though we have 10 corners in total. Through Ąžuolas, Jurijus Kiršis goes. He tries to chase down Rositis. Great racing by Povilas Bonkevičius. Such a competitive field, and Povilas Bonkevičius just proving that he's not only fast in that wheel thing, he's also fast behind the wheel of the simulator. Of course, he needs to avoid mistakes as they will start the final lap of the first race. Gudinavicius leading without any problems. Žadeikis running second as they stand in the championship. Svetins third in this race, and actually Svetins is also third in the championship standings. And well, Straupe runs fourth, and he's fourth in the championship standings. Ungurs is currently fifth, but he is seventh in the overall standings. Nice battle, guys. They know their position, where they should be running at, and if my calculations are correct, Gudinavicius should easily become the champion after finishing this race in P1. Well, maybe I shouldn't rush too fast into the future. Gudinavicius needs to finish both races to collect points, but he doesn't need a lot of points. He was quite ahead of the second placed Žadeikis, just because Gudinavicius won all the three races that happened in the past, and he's looking to win that fourth one. Also, Žadeikis finished second in all the previous three rounds, and he's currently second, so kind of the leaders are still staying the same. Povilas Klimanskas and Romet Racing battling for P11. Vidasokas looking to take home that 10th position. Side by side, Romet Racing still in front. Gudinavicius finished first. Okay, let's go back to that battle. Vidasokas should finish 10th and grab that pole position for the second race. Should be interesting. And Romet Racing will stay ahead of Povilas Klimanskas, just closes the doors, and that's the way the drivers will finish. Gytis Dimskis 13th, so Markevičius made a mistake, or maybe there was another contact, called the 15th. Sabutis 16th, Soraka 17th, Kovalevskis 18th, Mitkus 19th, Ozoliņš 20th, Einingis 21st, Lisans 22nd, Gornevs 23rd, and Nikševičius 24th. Let's make a short break, and let's have a look at an onboard of Karolis Joviša, the champion of the 325 Cup class, and the lap record that he was able to put in the previous season. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the results, and it looks like we've missed one important thing in the first race. Look who owns the second position. Žadeikis ran out of fuel right on the mountain, and he needed to kind of coast to the finish line, so that's how the final results of the first race look like. Gudinavicius won the first race, but Svetins finished second, Straupe third, Ungurs fourth, Bonkevičius fifth, Rozitis sixth, Kiršis seventh, Aurimas Mištautas eighth, Gvidasokas ninth, and Žadeikis 10th after that failure with that fuel. Romet Racing 11th, Klimanskas 12th, Dimskis 13th, Markevičius 14th, Kalda 15th, Sabutis 16th, Soraka 17th, Kovalevskis 18th, Mitkus 19th, Ozolinch 20th, Einingis 21st, Lisans 22nd, Gornevs 23rd, and Lukševičius 24th. So we had a good first race. We did take a look at the fastest lap time with a BMW 325 Cup car driven by Karolis Jovaiša. It happened in the previous season. And let's get ready for the second race. We actually have a couple of minutes before the start, so let's make another short break, or maybe we just don't make a break. We will wait until the time runs out, and finally I found the button to switch off the results, and this is how the grid looks like. On the top of the mountain there is no chicane. The drivers just run straight without any brakes, and the first corner is pretty fast. The speed at the apex is roughly 145 km/h, so it's a fast corner with not a lot of braking. The cars proceed a standing start, which is a usual situation on the original Assetto Corsa title. We don't have rolling starts, and well, actually the BMWs have a standing start in the real life also, so there's no difference in that. Well, they actually have a rolling start in the real race at Kačerginė. Well, I'm kind of confused, but yeah, they started. They had a rolling start previous year due to the configuration of Nemuno Žiedas racetrack. Only moments to go until the lights go out, and Nemuno Žiedas is on the left side of our screens. And Vidasokas on the right side. It looks like Nemuno Žiedas didn't have the best start, though he still manages to hold on to the first position. And let's ride on board with Nemuno Žiedas and see how the things look like at the back. Vidasokas running right behind Nemuno Žiedas, Julius Kiršis third, Povilas Bonkevičius fourth, Mištautas sixth. Let's ride on board with Tauras Gudinavicius, who is already up to P8 after starting 10th, after winning that first race. And it's not going to be the easiest task for Tauras Gudinavicius to run through the traffic, though he usually makes a kind of really decent job every time as he starts at the back of the back tight, but with a lot of respect. The drivers do really nice. And Tauras Gudinavicius up to P7 already, running behind Jānis Straupe and Mištautas, who battle each other, so there might be good chance for Tauras Gudinavicius for yet another position. Julius Kiršis and Povilas Bonkevičius in the distance battling for P3. Julius Kiršis currently running third, Povilas Bonkevičius fourth, Tauras Gudinavicius up to P6. And it didn't look too hard actually for this Lithuanian driver, who is looking into the next EBaTCC championship win. He already won well, at least one title as far as I remember, and Aurimas Mištautas running a little bit wide, kind of. It looked like he was leaving the door open. Julius Kiršis running a little bit wide, so a little bit of chaotic racing, but still the drivers keep their positions. Povilas Bonkevičius having a look into the stadium on Julius Kiršis. Will they avoid contact? Yes, actually they did. So different lines, and Julius Kiršis took a slightly later apex, which was not the tightest apex. He had to leave room for Povilas Bonkevičius, who was inside. Look at the speed difference. Well, look at that grip difference. It looks like Tauras Gudinavicius is driving a car from another planet, and it looks like the tires on this BMW just stick that a little bit, tiny bit better to that tarmac. No slides, just tighter lines and early on the power. And well, Tauras Gudinavicius master, one of the best drivers in this field. After Jan Nimts quit that championship, there is actually no rival for this Lithuanian, who's just being precise with every centimeter of the racetrack, and that makes him unbelievably fast, and he's already up to P5, and I think he can still kind of think about a win in the second race, which I definitely think he's looking at. And Julius Kirsch is just taking a ride around the grass on the outside of the track, and he still manages to hold on to that third position. Povilas Bonkevicius was right on the tail. Now Povilas Bonkevicius is mixed in between two Dream to Drive drivers. Julius Kirsch just needs to look at his rear view mirrors, and I think he's doing that a little bit too much. That's why he ran out of space. Right on board with Tauras Gudinavicius, who is having a really nice weekend as usual. No sliding, no running wide, already right on the tail of Povilas Bonkevicius. I'm not sure if Tauras Gudinavicius did have a taste of this 3-5 Cup racing. He definitely had real life experience racing and actually raced on Nemuno Žiedas. And look at how much better, just how much faster around the corners Tauras Gudinavicius is able to go, and actually on those uncomfortable lines he is still doing a good job. On camera, and Julius Kirsch is making another mistake. It looks like he doesn't find the needed grip. Povilas Bonkevicius just overslept the defensive line, and well, maybe this is a clever decision actually by Povilas Bonkevicius. He's not on par of the pace of Tauras Gudinavicius, so I think that's a good decision. He let Tauras Gudinavicius through, thinking that Tauras Gudinavicius will catch up with Julius Kirsch, who's currently running third, and that might be a good chance for Povilas Bonkevicius to take that spot away. We have EBaTCC further down the road, and Žadeikis is still only 4.3 seconds ahead of Tauras Gudinavicius, who is already up to P4. So still doable. 15 minutes of race time remain. Of course, Žadeikis running out in front definitely knows what he's doing. It's a big shame that Žadeikis ran out of fuel, but something went wrong with the calculations of the system. Drivers usually trust what the Assetto Corsa platform or the telemetry outputs for the needed fuel in race, and that's what Žadeikis relied to, but it was not okay. So hopefully, at least for this race, he made sure that there's enough of fuel in his virtual fuel tank. Ozoliņš and Mitkus battling for P10. Jokūbas Mitkus running quite high after this first race, so he had a quite good race start. Is down in P19, side by side into Ąžuolas corner. Jokūbas Mitkus leaving just enough of room for Ozoliņš to complete that track. That slowed both of the drivers down, so this is a good chance for Slisans, and that's Slisans. No, it was Kovalevskis who was running out on the grass. Slisans is actually 14th, and he's still a little bit further down the road behind this four-car battle, but I'm pretty sure he will join that battle quite shortly. Tauras Gudinavicius already up to P3, so we missed that overtake because we were looking at this action on the racetrack. So Tauras Gudinavicius 1.3 seconds behind EBaTCC, 4 seconds behind Žadeikis. He's already making ground while chasing down the race leader, and it's still a lot of time of this race remaining. So everything will go down to the battle between Tauras Gudinavicius and EBaTCC. Ozoliņš running a little bit wide also, and it looks like it doesn't slow the drivers too much. Maybe this is a line that the drivers decide to take, because by the looks of it, it didn't look that it actually it looked like it gave advantage for Ozolinch, and Svetins and Mitkus were running side by side into the stadium. Mitkus back in front again, he's up to P11. And as mentioned before, Slisans managing to chase down the battling pack, but he made a mistake in Azula's corner, so that slowed him down. Was right on the tail of Povilas Bonkavicius, so Povilas Bonkavicius didn't use that chance out by letting Tauras Gudinavicius through, so he made a mistake. And these drivers from outside the top 10, they are having a blast of a race and just showing the drift skills on the racetrack, exiting the corners. These cars are not on slick tires, they are on semi-slick Nankangs, so they don't have quite a lot of grip. What's with Slisans, who made an overtake on the grass. Mitkus slowed down a little bit, while Bonkavicius lost the place to Ungurs. So Bonkavicius down to P6, Ungurs looks to be a little bit faster, and now he's being chased down by Aurimas Mištautas. 0.3 of a second separates these two drivers. Povilas Bonkavicius had a really good opening race, especially after the failure of Žadeikis. The second race is not looking that good. Well, it's actually unbelievably good for Povilas Bonkavicius. He's running 6th. It's just that he's running backwards, not forwards. So he lost a position to Ungurs. Now he needs to battle out Mištautas. What about Tauras Gudinavicius? He's already chased down Vidas Okas. And Julius Kirš is 1.1 seconds behind Tauras Gudinavicius. So Julius Kirš is looking for a P4 finishing result because the drivers behind him are battling for position. Ungurs managed to overtake Povilas Bonkavicius, but Povilas Bonkavicius is right on the tail of Ungurs, and it's right on board with Aurimas Mištautas. And actually, let's move a couple of places forward, because we have a battle between Vidas Okas and Tauras Gudinavicius, and this one is pretty important. Vidas Okas will not be the easy cake for Tauras Gudinavicius, and he went quite aggressively defensive into the stadium corner. He needs to slow down by the apex unless he risks to lose that position for Tauras Gudinavicius. And well, these are the deciding moments for who might be the winner of the second race. Vidas Okas doing a beautiful job defending from Tauras Gudinavicius, and of course Vidas Okas wants to finish this race as high as possible, but into the chicane corner, and Vidas Okas didn't just have enough of pace to hold off the attacks of Tauras Gudinavicius. So Tauras Gudinavicius lost roughly 5/10 in this battle with Vidas Okas as we started the final 10 minutes of the final race of the EBaTCC Championship 2023, which had quite a lot of good moments, and it looks like that the series, which is the most popular and most action-packed race car series in the EBaTCC Championship on real tracks, is also the most exciting championship on the virtual tracks. So Vidas Okas still right behind Tauras Gudinavicius. Of course, I'm pretty sure Tauras Gudinavicius is not looking into his rear view mirrors. He's quite experienced driver, and he's one of the fastest. Well, actually, he's the fastest driver on the grid in this championship. He doesn't need to look into his rear view mirrors. He's pretty calm, relaxed, and prepared. Jānis Straupe and Aurimas Mištautas. What happened to Povilas Bonkavicius? Povilas Bonkavicius down in P10, so what a shame. While we looked at the battle between two leaders, we kind of missed what happened with these drivers. And it looks like Povilas Bonkavicius, either he made a mistake or he was forced on the to go off the racetrack. So Aurimas Mištautas also kind of 1.92 seconds behind Ungurs, so maybe it was a battle between these two friends in real life, Aurimas Mištautas and Povilas Bonkavicius. Well, this is a good chance for Jānis Straupe. He's running 7th. He didn't have a good start for the second race. He finished 3rd in the first one. Now he's trying to kind of clinch a couple of places, and Aurimas Mištautas running wide. Thank you, says Straupe up to P6, and these points are pretty important because his rival Svetins is currently 11, and that's becoming really interesting of who will be the driver who will clinch the second and the third place in the overall standings. With that failure of Žadeikis, he didn't collect quite a lot of points. That might get tighter, and Straupe suddenly looking pretty strong in this race. He finished third, now he's sixth. Drivers are kind of shuffled around, except for Gudinavicius. So we will not know the results as soon as the race will finish, but we will have the chance to go to the World Sim Series website, find the race, and the results will be, well, the provisional results will be listed there, or just wait a little bit and until the EBaTCC Facebook channel will announce the results. That way we will know who won the second and the third place in the championship, because well, no questions asked, Gudinavicius is going to win the championship as he is looking for a second place finish in the second race, which will give him the results of winning this final round also. But it's a question about who will take those remaining spots. Bongkevičius and Ozolic. Quite defensive, and well, Bongkevičius didn't have a place to go, and there's no place to be, or it's, well, just too tight. You have to leave a little bit of room for your rivals, and well, to my point of view, Ozolic was running a little bit too aggressive, and now, well, that's not how you race. And Ozolic, well, this was definitely a move of not being happy about how the situation escalated. But to my point of view, Ozolic was just too aggressively defending on the racetrack, and Bongkevičius just didn't have no place to go, and the contact was quite small. But what happened next? Well, I wouldn't call that a move of sportsmanship, well, at least by the looks of it, as it looked from the outside. Bongkevičius down in P10, hardly hit from behind on the Ąžuolas corner. This is the final race of the season, and of course Bongkevičius wanted a better result, and he was looking quite strong. He's still doing quite good. P10 gives you points. He finished fourth in the first race, so still something up for grabs. Well, actually he finished fifth in the first race, so still some good points to be made. And Aurimas Mištautas and Pavlas Klimanskas battling it out for P7. It looks like Žadeikis is on good pace with that 3.5 seconds advantage and less than 5 minutes of race remaining. If he avoids mistakes, he's looking pretty safe to win at least the second race of this final round. Aurimas Mištautas tries to go defensive. Pavlas Klimanskas slides around, knows the way how to handle this BMW quite nicely, and doesn't get lost, and lets the car run a little bit sideways. Bongkevičius has to defend from Rositas. Maybe Bongkevičius has some sort of a damage, although he didn't have a hefty contact. Klimanskas and Mištautas, two BMWs. Out of the 24 BMW field, battling for P7, and Klimanskas not the first time battling Aurimas Mištautas during this round, and well, kind of not finding the gap yet to make that move stick, running around, being really close to that back end. But Mištautas doing a phenomenal job, and I'm pretty sure Mištautas knows that his way around the track a little bit better, but there goes your chance for Pavlas Klimanskas. Aurimas Mištautas just ran a little bit too wide on the exit of Ąžuolas corner, which is more than enough for Pavlas Klimanskas to make that move with two wheels on the grass. No chance for Mištautas to defend a move like this after making a mistake that he made. 3 minutes to go. Mištautas still has a chance to finish 7th. He finished 8th in the first race, and he's looking to finish 8th in the second race. so pretty stable results. 3.1 seconds between Žadeikis and Gudinavicius, which looks to be too big of a gap for Gudinavicius, so it's still not over until it's over. And there's still quite a possibility for the drivers to make a mistake, though that possibility is almost equal to zero. Ziedas showing his drift style around the first corner, which is quite a fast corner when the track is used without chicane. And actually you need to brake into that corner, which is not the case if the chicane is presented. And it becomes basically a flat-out corner with just a slight lift of the throttle. Mištautas 4/10 behind Povilas Klimanskas. Well, his best chance now is to try and provoke Povilas Klimanskas into at least the smallest mistake, but to do that he needs to stay just with the back end of Povilas Klimanskas' green BMW. And it looks like it's not going to plan for Aurimas Mištautas. The gap 0.4 is not that big, but actually is a little bit too big to make some changes. 1 minute and 20 seconds remain, so that's the penultimate lap of this race. 1 minute 18.2 versus 1 minute 17.7. Half a second faster was Gudinavicius on the previous lap time, so well, he has the chance to kind of shave off another second until we see the checkered flag, which means some nice pressure might be put on the shoulders of Nemuno Žiedas, who is also quite experienced, and actually he's not famous for doing mistakes due to big pressure. He's kind of not giving second thoughts on the drivers who are running behind him, not in the virtual environment, also in the real one. Nemuno Žiedas did 2 successful seasons in the 325 Cup class and one of the fastest drivers. He's one of the fastest drivers on this grid also, except for Gudinavicius, who is just demonstrating a phenomenal pace and, well, out of this world. Only Jan Nimts was on par, maybe a little bit faster. Jan Nimts won 2 pole positions in the first and in the second round, but as we remember, Jan Nimts was involved in an accident in the first race of the second round, and he decided to quit this championship because, well, these small mistakes are too big when the battle is so harsh for the championship, and I think just Jan Nimts thought that it's not worth to stay in the championship without a chance to compete for the win. Žadeikis around chicane for the final time. Hopefully enough fuel in the fuel tank. Well, at least 1 liter more was needed in that BMW. Like to finish the first race, and I'm pretty sure the mistake will not be repeated. 2 Dream to Drive cars occupying the 2 first places. Žadeikis this time taking the checkered flag, and I think that's more than enough for Žadeikis to finish the championship in the second position in the overall standings. Gudinavicius, the champion of EBaTCC 2023. Vidasokas finishing 3rd. Julius Kiršis, nice result, crossing the line 4th. Ungus 5th. Straupe 6th. And now there's the question, who will take that 3rd spot in the overall standings? Klimanskas 7th, Mištautas 8th, Svetins 9th, only 9th, compared to 6th of Straupe. Monkavicius running home 9th. And I'm not sure whom are we missing. Rosita is 10th, Mitkus 11th, Kovalevskis 12th, Eining is okay, well, Eining is 11th. So the result table is making nonsenses again, and well, this is it, the championship, the EBaTCC Championship 2023. 2023 has came to an end. The results of the second race are on your screen. Žadeikis, Gudinavicius, Gvidas Okas, Julius Kiršis and Ungurs, your top 5 drivers. Janis Straupe 6th, Klimanskas 7th, Mištutas 8th, Svetins 9th, Bonkevicius 10th. Rozitis 11th, Mitkus 12th, Kovalevskis 13th, Einingis at 14th, Ozolins 15th, Dimskis 16th, Markevicius 17th, Soraka 18th, Sabutis 19th, Slisans 20th, and Gornevs, Kalda, Lukševičius and Racing are your last drivers. Romet Racing finished only 24th and had a 10 seconds penalty for rules infringements. So not a result that Romet Racing was looking at for his final race of this championship. Let's take a quick look at the championship table as it was before this round to have an idea how we started this round. Gudinavicius had 120 points, Žadeikis 85, so Svetins, Straupe and Šubeckis were battling for P3. Šubeckis didn't start in this race, so it left Svetins and Straupe to battle it out for P3. Only 5 points separated these two drivers, so it's going to be really interesting to see who will come out on top after this race finishes. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the battles, hope you enjoyed the virtual EBaTCC championship with these BMWs. Now we're going to run and prepare for the real season. The first test sessions are up next month, and the first round will take place on the Estonian racetrack. So you can go to the EBaTCC website and take a look at that calendar. Hope you had great fun, and see you next time.